I've activated pantaloons mode with my sweats to wade through all the horror that we've got coming. Welcome back to RPG Horror Stories, where I go on Reddit so you don't have to! Oh, new week, good week, beautiful outside, but we're staying inside, and we're enjoying some schadenfreude. So, for those of you who do not know how this works, we are going to r/RPG Horror Stories on Reddit, taking the top few from this week and reading them out for our schadenfreude pleasure. Then, at the end of it, we read an RPG GloryStory to cleanse our mind and regain some faith in humanity. We got a real funny one coming up. Real nice, so stay tuned for that. Without further ado, let's jump in. This first one is titled, The DM of Patently Unfair House Rulings. House rulings can be fun if they're done right, but if they're done wrong, it's a horror story in the making. Let's see what happens. I'm so tired of house rules. One of these days, I want to join a group that just plays by the normal rules. It feels like most people come up with the absolute most unbalanced solutions to non-existent problems. I'm here to discuss one of the absolute worst cases of this, now that it's been long enough. I found the group on Reddit. Ooh, bad start. For anybody looking to find a D&D game, for the love of God, don't go on Reddit. There's a reason I go on Reddit so you don't have to. It's a lawless wasteland. You know, enter at your own risk. Don't try to find groups or friends on Reddit. I know that sounds hypocritical of me, but this is literally the only time I go on Reddit. Do as I say, not as I do. So I've had to lie low as this experience seethed below the surface and burned to get out. So I was tired of 5e D&D and really wanted to try Pathfinder 2e. All of my friends seemed completely allergic to trying anything new. So I was willing to put up with a group of randoms to, at the very least, learn the rules by playing, so maybe I could DM and ease my friends into it myself. It was apparently everyone's first time playing. The other two players had picked Wizard and a Monk, so I figured a good bet to round things would be a Champion. Crowd control, tankiness, limited healing. It felt like it was a good pick. House rules popped up right from the start to limit our character creation. Number 1. Only a handful of races were available because the DM reasoned the rest were too rare in our kingdom of origin. Fair enough. Number 2. Any feats outside of the core rules or core feats deemed too strong by the DM would be subject to the DM approval or veto. Okay. Number 3, magic items would be rare to non-existence. We weren't allowed to craft them until level 9. The DM had seen the automatic bonus progression rules and thought they were too strong and applied a glimpsed version of them. Oh, this DM is getting hyper-specific with this setting he's playing in. Number 4. It was revealed that at the start of the game, an unnatural storm would strike our ship, and we would lose everything we weren't wearing to bed, except for whatever one object we could reasonably grab as the ship went down. As a champion, I wasn't allowed to keep my armor. I feel like you all know my feelings on taking away your players' toys. You can't dangle shit in front of your players and then immediately take it away from them. Like, unless there is a direct plan to get it back, and very, very soon, don't take away your players' toys. They're their toys, they want to play with them. They planned on playing with them. Oh my god, this is ridiculous. And also, he's a martial class that is built off of tankiness. He needs his armor. Oh my god. Number 5. After some debate, our wizard was graciously allowed to learn spells outside of the ones gained from leveling, despite the DM declaring this class feature broken. It's a class feature, it's not broken, it's highly tested. So, to compensate, they would need to spend as many days trying to learn a single spell as the spell would normally take to learn in hours. This process was still subject to failure and maintained its normal costs. Did I mention our purported mission was also time sensitive and required us to constantly move across the breadth of 2 continents? Okay, so this DM not only took away their players' toys, but aren't letting them get new toys. Okay. Listen, DMs out there. I understand that you may not agree with some of the rules in a game, but if you are changing the core of the game, the core of some classes, to fit your world because you think they're broken, maybe play a different game. Maybe try a different hobby in general, because the game is supposed to be fun. Are some rules broken? Are some classes broken? You can say that some classes in D&D are broken. That's the thing, though. They are tried, trued, and tested. And if everything's broken, nothing is broken. That's how it works. A wizard being able to learn spells makes up for the fact that they that they are squishy and they have to prepare their spells. There's a healthy balance there. There's a reason for everything. Everything is tested, it's tried and true. You know? That's how this works. We start the campaign, and once more, it's made clear we have nothing more than we could carry. A spellbook, a weapon, what have you. That and our war chest, a chest filled with gold to fund our expedition, given to us by our king that washed up on shore with us. We start to discuss how to spend it, and I mentioned we could probably hire a ship and move quickly along the coast, skipping the desert. The DM gets upset and declares that all boats are locked in port because lately magical storms blow ships apart the second they try to go out to sea. Anybody else hear something? I think I hear something. Is it a choo-choo? Railroading. Oh, this DM wants to tell a specific story. DMs, if you want to railroad your players this hard, write a book. Don't take away the fun. Don't take away the good ideas, things like that. If you want a story this bad to happen exactly the way you want it to, write a book. It'll come out exactly the way you want it to, I promise you. Fine. If we have to move across the desert, I declare that it's vital I get my hands on some good armor and a shield to be effective. The DM interjects. Actually, they don't have metal armor in the desert. It's too hot. You only have access to leather and hide. Also, metal armor was too strong and unfair. This DM sounds like a child. Oh my god. No, you can't have all these things. It's unfair because my monsters have to be powerful too. Oh my god. Okay, well, I was familiar with the Dark Sun setting. Oh, it's he's not even using a homebrew setting. It's literally a setting inside Pathfinder. Oh my god. I was familiar with the Dark Sun setting and brought up the option of chitin armor as a potential desert-friendly solution. Absolutely not. Studded leather was the best I could hope for, and that was pushing it according to the DM because of the metal. Forgive me if I'm wrong, but for those that are unfamiliar about chitin armor is made out of bug carapace. I'm pretty sure, if I'm remembering my 3.5 correctly. This DM? Okay, so, again, I'm going to re-emphasize this. I've said it in previous videos, and I'm going to say it again now because it is very, very important. Consent is key, which means transparency is key. When you're utilizing a setting, you have to set all the rules for the setting out front. Like, I'm not saying give away plot points, but, you know, during character creation saying that, oh yeah, like, all the races you want to play as, yeah, you can't play as them because of X, Y, and Z that I'm homebrewing into this setting that already exists. It already exists. You can't learn spells because it's overpowered. Sure, maybe it's a low magic setting. You know, that sort of deal. Can't find magical items. Again, low magic setting. That sort of deal. You let them know out front so that they can make the decision if they want to stay at your table or not. And also, I get it's hard to find a game, it's hard to find players, it's hard to find a DM. But if you're not vibing with the DM, leave the table, find a different game. There are better games out there. DMs, if you lay everything out and the player's like, I'm not really vibing with that, it's okay. Get them out looking for another table, start to look for another player, you know? You can absolutely do something like this, absolutely, but you have to be transparent, you have to be open about it. You can't surprise them with this. You know, studded leather armor isn't going to burn you in the desert. Well, that majorly sucks, I guess. Could I at least get a metal shield? Absolutely not. No metal at all. Not even weapons. What do they expect the weapons to be made out of? We're going unga bunga on this. It's like, it's caveman time. You know, pulling out the club, getting the sling ready, you know, slay that Goliath, whatever you're doing. This is crazy. I was begrudgingly allowed to keep my sword, though, since I technically chose it as my one saved item. If I hadn't, I wouldn't be able to get any. The people of the desert didn't use metal at all for anything. It was too hot. Okay, cool. Got it. Hey, just throwing this out there. Let's look back at ancient Egypt times, right? When you think of ancient Egypt, as I'm sure many of you also have probably hyperfixated on a specific time period at a certain point in time. I hyperfixated on ancient Egypt for a time. One of the most classic ancient Egyptian swords is called a khopesh. And a khopesh is a long blade with a curved edge, mostly used to either like trip enemies, get behind them, or lop heads off, you know? Where's Egypt at? The desert. Guess what that sword was made out of? Metal. This DM really wants to railroad its players and make them as least powerful as they possibly can. Then, after another moment of thought, he declared, even if you get armor, you can only wear it for a maximum of 2 hours in the desert, which we would be traveling across on foot any longer, risk the consequences of heat. Any longer, risk consequences like heat stroke. Okay, sure, if you're wearing full plate, in the desert, probably not a good idea to wear it for a long time. You're probably going to get heat stroke. But metal armor existed in the desert. It existed. They had cooling methods. Like, sure, you gotta work it in. Survival tactics, you know, that sort of deal. Work in the cooling methods. But that seemed patently ridiculous. My entire set chick was being an impossible wall to support my allies, and I would have only mildly better defense than they did. Now, I was expected to just not wear armor for half our travel time and hope I had it on when random encounters hit. DM solution? We could wear armor in shifts. If we switched off every few hours, then at least one of us would have armor. Not how heating of metal works, so his argument is imploding in on itself. Great. I keep on looking at the opposite side of my camera because I'm using my phone to record this. I'm starting out. Come on. But usually it's in the other upper hand corner, so if you see me not make eye contact with you, it's because I'm immediately looking at that. I just want to create more eye contact with you, so it seems like we're having a conversation. But the DM's logic is falling in on itself. So, great. Love that when logical fallacies come up. Our party was a champion, a monk, and a wizard. What the fuck is a monk and a wizard gonna wear armor for? I will remind you. Guess which of us actually wears armor? The DM patted himself on the back for his clever solution anyways. I hate it when somebody's stupid and they're so proud about being stupid. Like, I get it being ignorant. There's a difference between being stupid and being ignorant, you know? Being ignorant means that you don't know something. And so, if you get educated on it, you then now know it. You are no longer ignorant. But if somebody's ignorant and then so arrogant about being confident in their beliefs in this one thing and logical fallacies are coming up, they're being stupid, and I don't like that. I was starting to get annoyed. The game was balanced around me having armor, all of us having access to magical items, or the automatic progression rules, and at every turn, the DM was declaring class features as, quote, too broken, and coming up with off-the-cuff, quote, solutions to these problems. Before we could get to town, we had a bunch of goblins rob us of our war chests, dragging it off. More toys getting taken away. Great! We pursued and nearly killed them all until the DM sicked a griffin onto us out of nowhere to cover the goblins' escape. We barely survived, and when we tried to pursue the goblins, DM told us in no uncertain terms that the trail was cold after 2 days and could not be picked up because we failed the survival check and none of us were proficient. We asked what we were expected to do now, but the DM just shrugged and acted like we were the idiots for letting this happen. OP, you have more patience than I do. Oh, you have way more patience than I do. We went to town to try and work for coins so we could literally afford to eat and get gear. The very next session, we all wiped in combat when negotiations with our employer soured. The DM and the 2 other players, all of whom apparently knew each other, declared that Pathfinder 2E was stupid and unbalanced, and then voted we move back to 5E because it was more balanced. My input didn't matter. I was outvoted. OP, why did you stay in this situation for so long? Like, I get it, you want to play it, you're really excited about it, but why did you stay in this situation for so long? It seems like an online game, you met them on Reddit. So you could have just stopped. You could have stopped, you know? Listen, like, I get it, you wanted to play it a lot, but there were so many red flags that popped up, even in character creation, they popped up. And then as you went through the sessions, I'm imagining this is over just talking about everything they did, like 2 days of tracking things down, a shipwreck, walking through the desert, you know, that sort of deal. I'm guessing you did probably closer to 10 sessions. Like, that's my guess. Why did you stick around for so long? If anybody out there sees the red flags popping up, don't hold out hope, get out of there. Like, it's as simple as that. Don't hold out hope, get out of there. Get yourself in a better situation, because the quicker you get out of there, the more time you have to look for the better table. As I sat there typing up a polite resignation message, wouldn't have been polite on my hand, the DM started stacking up house rules for 5e in chat again, at one after another. All of them completely unfavorable to players. Like long rests that required an entire week and more or less everything above. I decided I was done. I should have decided I was done on session 1. I came here to learn to play Pathfinder 2e, not wallow in 5e and garbage house rules. I just do not understand this type of DM. I'm so sick of grouping up with people who have no concept of how the game balance works and decided based on feelings what is and isn't balanced on the fly. I have yet to encounter a set of house rules that haven't made me cringe in some way, but maybe that's just my bad luck. You gotta be careful with house rules, because the rules of the game exist for a reason, you know? If you do implement house rules, I would err on the side of caution and just do things that minorly affect gameplay. Very minorly. Like, for example, 5e, one of my running house rules, and many other people use this, was if you drank a potion, it was a bonus action. You know? Easy, quick, doesn't affect gameplay too much, and also gives a little bit more power to your players so that they can utilize their action for something useful in combat if they have to drink it real quick. And that house rule became so popular and so favored that in D&D 2024, taking a potion by yourself is now an official rule. So, err on the side of caution when doing house rules. But also, if you find yourself in a situation when you're not enjoying the table and the DM is throwing out rules and just doing a whole bunch of things that you don't enjoy, get out of their session 1. Like, don't put yourself through the heartache, through the trouble, through the frustration. Save yourself some years of your life, you know? That's rough. Moving on. This one is titled, Nah, I'ma Stay. We have a lighthearted tag. Let's hope it stays like that. A few years ago, a seat opened up in my campaign and I was playing in. We put in LFP post, evaluated some candidates, and picked one who seemed like the best fit. Over the course of the week, we helped the new guy set up his character. He wanted to play a paladin of the same god that our cleric followed, which seemed great to us, as it gave him an immediate in with the party. At this point in the game, the party had just touched down in the settlement we were using as our base before heading out onto our next leg of our adventure. So it was a good time to bring new character into the party too. In short, everything seemed to be going well with the new guy's onboarding. When the day of the session came, we started off with some out-of-character welcoming, introductions, etc. Then began the session proper. This started with the cleric meeting the paladin, then introducing him to the rest of the party. After introductions, everyone seemed ready for glory, so we all piled into our ship to sail off towards the next stop. Everyone except the new paladin, that is. He decided that he wanted to stay in town to see what his god wanted him to do. It just so happened that our cleric was the head of the local congregation, the highest ranking official in the church for hundreds of miles in any direction. So he pointed out to the paladin that he'd received signs from our god that this was the way to go, that apparently wasn't enough. It's what my character would do. Fucking God. I will bet you money that phrase comes up in this story. When in-character discussions failed, our DM resorted to outright telling the new guy, the story is going in this direction. If you don't get on the ship, you won't be a part of it. Still, I'll stay in the dock and see what comes along. Thinking he had maybe been a bit too subtle, the DM tried again. If your character doesn't go on the ship, you won't be a part of this D&D group. But again, he got no traction. I'll wave at them from the dock to stay and take care of things around here. We said our goodbyes, the DM booted him from the Discord, and we never heard from him again. Hell yeah! Get him out of there! Oh, I love it! Oh my god. Yes! To this day, I still have no idea what his motivation was. His introduction came at the very start of the session, so it's not like he saw our playstyle and decided it wasn't for him. But still, every now and then, I think back and have a bit of a chuckle about the Paladin, the glorious champion of a militant god, all about fighting the good fight, who was offered the chance for adventure, glory, and a fight to save the world, and responded with, nah, I think I'll stay here. You know, I think that goes beyond, is what my character would do. Because if he was truly a paladin of this militant god, he would have gone with them, and was like, yeah, I'm gonna fight. Yeah, it's a war god, you know? Absolutely, I'm gonna go fight. But just being like, nah, man, this town seems cozy. I'm gonna stick around here for a while and just see what's going on. Bye, guys. I hope you have a good time. Okay, now DM, let's have a one-on-one session. Like, what did he think was going to happen? What did he think was going to happen? Oh my god. The DM handled it beautifully. Was like subtle, a little less subtle, very much so not subtle, telling him directly, and then him saying, "No, I think I'll stay here." And DM being like, "Okay, your character stays there, and you are no longer a part of the DMD group. Bye-bye." That was perfect. A1. Steak sauce. Beautiful. I like that. Very lighthearted. Nice breath of fresh air. Let's see what's next. Alrighty, so this next story has a bigotry warning. After I read the story and I edit this video, I will put the full warnings up above here, as well as a timestamp that you can skip to skip this story entirely. So if you would like to and save yourself from these, please skip to that timestamp, and we'd love to join you at the end of this video. This next one is titled, GM allowed an overpowered character to sacrifice mine without consent. A year later, I found out they hated me. Oh my god. Okay. Hello! I was here a year ago about my story on my GM forcing my character to be sacrificed, favoriting that one character and other things. Now, I've gotten into contact with a past member of that group who was barely there due to personal reasons. This past member said that the whole party, other than her and her best friend, would talk shit behind my back. They were weirded out that I was trans, female to male. She doesn't remember what else they said other than that. It probably stuck with her because she was trans too. We are all high school students, so shallow vein is the norm. But they could have said something, kicked me out or something. Okay. This is another thing I'm going to say. D&D and TTRPGs in general, nerd culture in general, should be a warm, welcoming, and open environment to everybody to be whatever they want and anything they want. Listen to that again. It's a nice, warm, and welcoming environment for anybody to be whatever they want to be. No exceptions. If you are one of those people that belittle people because of their sexual preference, their gender identity, their race, their creed, anything like that, get a new hobby. And I am dead serious on that one. You are not welcome here. This is a warm and welcoming environment. It is nice. It is beautiful. And we can escape the horrors of the world for just a little bit. And if you're trying to prevent somebody else from doing that, please find a new hobby. We were all high school students, so shallow and vain is the norm. But they could have said something, kicked me out or something. I tried to do stuff in the campaign, but the GM mostly ignored me, so maybe I should have taken that as a warning. I was, and still am, an overall quiet person, though a bit weird, hopefully the good kind. I'm sure you are. But I didn't try to be an asshole other than joking that the campaign was just Sword Art Online. There was a session revealing that previous sessions before were all in VR. That was also when the overpowered character came in. That's a cool concept for a campaign. I don't like it that it's in the hands of a bigot, but I don't know what I really did. I wish I could know, but then again, it was a year ago, and I was being myself. People will hate me for dumb reasons, so I should probably just take it on the chin. Thanks for letting me rant here. Edit, it didn't read as finished, sorry. Okay, so I feel like we're missing some context here. Just to get the full extent of the story, I found the original post that OP made. And so we are going to read that one as well. And this one is titled, GM allowed an overpowered character to sacrifice mine without consent. And just reading from the previous story, we know that OP is in the right here. Let's see how bad it was, though. Some background before the incident. I've already had some issues with my GM. He would ignore the rest of the party to talk and or roleplay with the barbarian, let them do whatever, and be pretty monotone in every session. The GM would also not warn me if we will have session until it's every other Wednesday, causing me to miss a few sessions when I'm usually punctual. Now on to the main event. It was a Wednesday, and apparently I missed another session because he only warned me about today's session. I get to the session early at 2:18, and it starts an hour later with a quick session recap from the last time, which barely anything happened apparently. GM suddenly dropped that the barbarian chose me to sacrifice. I tried to protest, but we got into the battle. What? So, we're already getting bits and pieces here. Insights into this GM's mindset. The GM would purposefully not tell OP about the session, just so that he would, skip and would ignore him while he was at the table, and on top of that, allowed another character to choose him as a sacrifice? Cool. Fantastic. Love that so much. I'm sure this goes without saying. I hope it goes without saying. But do not force your party members to make a sacrifice. GMs, make sure that you include everybody. Everybody's playing the game. If you want to do a one-on-one session, play with just that player. Don't include everybody else. They don't need to be there. Have fun with that other person. You can share in your bigotry together. It'll be great. It'll be a fun time. I promise you. Great. I get mopey, knowing that my character will die, and what do you know? He did, being beheaded after 3 rounds of constant attack while I barely got a hit in. The barbarian kept rolling over 20, and I, being unlucky, barely rolled anything above a 1. I sat up after knocking my boy down and went to the bathroom to cry out my feelings and rant to a friend, only to come back to get my stuff and leave. I'm slightly scared of the conversation GM is going to bring up, but I don't care. I'm going back to the last session, waiting until the summer is over to get back into Dungeons & Dragons. Okay, so some more context. The story doesn't go that far. GM explained how the party were escorted somewhere, then started to trail off about sacrificing a humanoid. They turned to me and said, "Oh, and the barbarian would like to sacrifice my character." Enter the battle where I rolled a nat 1 on my turn after being hit twice, causing me to be at 15. I had a full 52 health, and this was after the barbarian's first turn. The barbarian got to roll twice, thinking I could survive when they rolled to hit first, but then got 25 on the second roll to hit. I didn't get death saves. The rest of the party were teasing how this was basically bullying and did nothing else. The rest of it is just, re-emphasizing that they're in high school and that the barbarian only joined a few sessions before and immediately got a cool sword. I'm guessing from a deck of many things pull, just by the way they were describing it. But nonetheless, this is bullshit. It is bullshit. It's bullshit. Through and through. GMs, give your players a chance. If somebody is telling them that they're going to be sacrificed, maybe you should look at that player and the player that's, doing the sacrificing, and maybe have a conversation with them and be like, "Hey, what's up there, bud? If you are plotting against somebody at your table, you should probably take a look inward and think to yourself, why am I plotting against this person? Why am I not including them? Should they be here?" Because a valid reason, granted they were in high school, is, hey, I don't think I vibe with you. I don't think we get along very well. So I'm going to have you exit the table. And their response, as a rational human being, should be, "Yeah, absolutely. I get it. I understand. Have a good day." If you kick somebody out of the table, give them an explanation. Number 3, players out there. You're worth a lot more than you think you are. You're worth so much more than you think you are. I'm sure everybody watching this right now is worth their weight in stardust. Have some confidence in yourself. Know your worth. If somebody's mistreating you like this, don't put up with it. Please, for me. If not for you, then for me. Don't put up with it, because you're worth so much more. And you're loved, and you deserve to be respected. Oh, God. That sucked. Moving on. All right. We've had some great stories today. But now it's time to cleanse our mind and regain some faith in humanity with an RPG GloryStory. For those that do not know what an RPG GloryStory, it is the opposite of a horror story. It's where things go right. Things go wrong, but in a funny way, not at the expense of others. A funny thing happens, not at the expense of others. Notice how I'm saying not at the expense of others? That's very important to this. In this one, I'm pulling from r/RPG GloryStories on Reddit, and it is called The Ballad of Ugg the Caveman. Let's see where it goes. This story is from about 2 years ago, and it's about one of the best characters I ever made, who was originally created as a complete joke. One day I was rolling ability scores for a different character and ended up getting 18, 18, 14, 12, 8, 3. Oh, fuck. Oh my god, that's a spread and I love it. I didn't use that stat block for the character I was making, but it stuck in my mind nonetheless. And a few days later, I decided I'm gonna make a character with 3 intelligence. Oh, I love low intelligence characters if they're done right. Oh, I love it so much. Just heart of gold, probably strength of an ox, but dumb as a sack of rocks. And so, Ugg the Human Barbarian was born, aka Ugg the Caveman. With his variant human ability, his score improvement, taking the Tavern Brawler feat at level 1, he had a 19 strength and 20 con, but 3 intelligence. He couldn't even speak any languages, instead communicating in grunting of Ugg, 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 Ugg. Poor baby doesn't even know his own strength. They just tell him to stand a place and swing his bat. That's probably what happened. I love this so much. It was a complete meme, but I didn't use Ugg in any games. And he sat in my character bank for several months. Until that glorious day. You see, my group of D&D friends was starting a new campaign. Now I was asked one of them what he was playing. And he said he was going to play a Chronergy Wizard. I got an idea. A wonderful, awful idea. So I messaged him in private, and we created a shared backstory for his wizard and Ugg. The wizard was an apprentice at Strixhaven who, as a part of his dissertation, accidentally created an unstable time portal and pulled Ugg out of the fantasy Stone Age into present day. Now, said wizard was trying to find a way to send Ugg back to his own time in order to save his degree, while Ugg is trapped in a world he doesn't understand. He didn't bear the wizard any ill will, though, following him around because he didn't know where else to go. This is great! I love this! Because you can make a joke character work in a campaign, like a serious campaign that isn't a joke campaign, as long as the backstory is great. You gotta keep in mind, joke characters can't be jokes all the time. Something made them funny. You know, something made them who they are today. And a lot of the times, like, some bad things happen to even joke characters, you know? If the backstory is on point, throw that joke character in there. As long as you have plans for a character arc or something like that, it's perfectly valid. It's perfectly reasonable as long as it fits within the theme of the story. They created a backstory for Ugg the Caveman that is chef's kiss. I love it. We were in a party of 5, and some of the highlights of Ugg in the game include 1. The first time we made camp, Ugg almost put his hand into the campfire because he didn't know what fire was and was like, ooh, pretty. Thankfully, the other characters stopped him. 2. Ugg's first word. When I got a critical hit on a boss with my club, I decided to make it the character moment and yelled, Ugg, smash! Classic. Number 3. Ugg intimidating a man we were interrogating for information by sniffing him and saying, you smell tasty, and looking like he was going to eat the man alive. That caused him to spill the beans. 4. When our party killed an enemy wizard, Ugg pulled his brain out and tried to wear it on top of his head. Then he told his friends, Ugg smart now, Ugg 2 brains. And then when the rest of the party told him that that's not how brains work, Ugg got angry and squished the brain under his foot, proclaiming, brain stupid. I love Ugg. I love Ugg so much. I'm gonna make Ugg an NPC. He's so sweet. I love him. Protect him at all costs. For this, our Dwarf College of Valor bard dubbed him Ugg Brain Crusher. But the best bit of all was how Ugg's story ended. As I alluded to earlier, over the course of the campaign, Ugg slowly managed to grasp concepts like fire, metalwork, language, and so on. He still spoke in broken speech, but it was a step up from him just grunting all the time. And so, when the time portal was created, and after a tearful goodbye, full of bone-crushing hugs, Ugg returned to the Stone Age. But that wasn't the end of things. My friend's Chronergy wizard got his degree and went to visit a museum due to his specialization in time magic and interest in history. But on that very same day, he got to see the unveiling of their latest and most perplexing exhibit. A recovered cave painting which depicted not only cavemen's first use of fire and metal, but a figure wearing a crown, and written next to it in common were the words, Ugg miss you all, Ugg give fire to man, Ugg do good. I got fucking chills, man. I got chills. So ends the Ballad of Ugg, caveman, squisher of brains, and god emperor of mankind. If you have a joke character, as long as they have an arc, it can be a beautiful thing. Because, you know, even clowns gotta cry, you know? And the fact that the DM was so willing to put Ugg in here with such a well-crafted backstory, and we saw the full arc of Ugg, and then at the end of it, just a little cherry on top. Ugg saying, Ugg miss you all. Ugg do good. Ugg do very good. I'm very glad for Ugg. That made me feel all warm and fuzzy inside. That was great. Well, we had some amazing stories today, and I very much appreciate you watching this and listening and reading these stories with me and sticking around until the end. If you like this, please like and subscribe. It really helps me out. And go ahead and leave a comment down below telling me which of these stories was your favorite and why. If you enjoy this type of stuff, please check out the other Reddit videos on my channel. I've got so many other ones on there with a whole bunch of other different stories on there, and I think you'd really enjoy it. I've also got other things on my channel, like I do a deep dive into Dungeons & Dragons. I've got tips for DMs, for players. I'm doing a series where I'm dissecting down different TTRPGs. I just did Dungeons & Dragons. Up next is actually going to be Call of Cthulhu, so stay tuned for that. And if you enjoy this, please stick around and subscribe because there's going to be more videos coming out in the future. But until that time, I will say Auf Wiedersehen, tschüss, and I will catch you in the next one.